All right, guys, welcome back to Mod and Pop Thrift. My name is Tom. I'm a full-time eBay reseller and a stay-at-home dad for 5 children. And today, my brother's wife agreed to come up and hang out instead of me having to do all of this stuff inside or leave Evelyn alone inside for a couple minutes at a time while I do a little bit and then go back. And so today, I'm going to be out here probably a handful of hours in a row while my sister-in-law is hanging out with my kids and her kid, my kid, who only have one at home right now, and her kids, who are homeschooled and doing their work at my house because my home is just as home as their home. So, yeah, this is going to work out really well, I hope. Got 30, I think I have 37 because I didn't ship. I only shipped what I had to ship. So today the have to ships are 20, but I'm going to get as many as I can done because I'm buying the time. All right, so first up, PS2 controller. Got it in that lot that my buddy gave me because he just didn't want to donate it. Sold for $17, I think. Free shipping. I'll just put it in a 4x8x6 box and it'll go easy as it can be. I don't have this guitar pulled. Turns out I think this is a Kingston brand guitar. It is just a late 60s, early 70s, made in Japan style guitar. I got it for $16 on high bid auction. And then I sold the pickups, the thing that picks up the strings noise pickup, and the knobs that turn the volume and the tone, which are called pots or potentiometers. I pulled those out, listed them separately. They sold to the same guy for like $75. Maybe $100. Anyway, the guitar sold for, I don't remember, 45 plus shipping going to Florida. So the buyer's all in at $112. That's another one where it's a big item. I'm going to ship it UPS, and I'll put up here what the shipping label costs me, but it is not going to cost me anywhere close to what they paid. Yeah, the buyer paid $60.32 for shipping, and I'm going to pay $29.85 just looking at the label. That would, I probably would have gotten a sale faster because I put in the right dimensions and weight. And I probably would have gotten a sale faster had I just listed this for $60 free shipping, and then basically take the $30 for it. I went and previewed the auction house the other day, a couple weeks ago at this point, and saw a box of clothes that I liked, shirts, vintage shirts that I wanted to relist. But in that vintage pile of shirts that I won for $12 on absentee bid was this pack of socks. These are dated 2005. So they're not quite that 20-year threshold that a lot of people hold up as vintage, but they're not new, and they are not a style that is contemporary, so you may have a hard time finding this style sock if that's what you're into. So anyway, I listed these. They're not made in the US. I think they're at that point where it's made in Mexico out of US parts or something. So they're not my ideal definition of vintage, but they are old socks. Anyway, I didn't even intend to buy them, but they came with other stuff that I was buying. They sold for $34 free shipping. And I'll just slide this bag in a poly bag and be good to go. I do not drink alcohol at all. Never once in my life have I had a single drink. But alcohol advertisement sells. And I'm not above selling alcohol advertisement. This is weird. Oh, no, it's not. Anyway, this Jack Daniel's Old Number 7, it looks like 20 because it's backwards. At least it is to me right now. Maybe it rectifies when I start editing. Anyway, this I paid $2.50 for. It sold for $11.50 free shipping. Probably not the best pickup ever, but alcohol advertisement sells well. And it was a quick flip, and I believe that quick flips help your visibility in the algorithm. So buying things that sell quick, even if they're low margin, is still worth it because rising tides raise all ships, right? I paid 50 cents for this because at my Goodwill, all paperback books are 50 cents. All kids books are 50 cents. All adult hardbacks are $1. And so I paid 50 cents for this the other day, and all of the listed comps were above $20. So I went into Terapeak and found some solds at $9 plus shipping. So I listed this at $9 plus shipping, and it sold pretty good flip, 50 cents into $9 plus shipping. And again, quick. That was listed February 16th. It took 4 weeks to sell. The other day I went to an estate sale where Evie was not feeling well. And I paid $10 for a whole bunch of stuff. This little 3-ring is Revereware, and Revereware sells really fast. So this was maybe 50 cents into this. It sold for $9 free shipping. But again, I listed it on March 9th, and it flipped super fast. And having things that flip fast tell eBay that you're selling things that people want, and so they're showing your listings. The longer I do this, the more that I realize that sell-through rate is important, not only because of not wanting to have stale inventory, but because it helps your algorithm. It helps your exposure. Sell-through rate, selling things that sit forever, eBay isn't making money and it's taking up room on their site. So eBay doesn't have incentive to show the things in your store if the things in your store aren't moving quickly. eBay wants just as badly as you do for your things to go up, get bought, get paid for, get out the door. Because then they have a happy customer, they made the fees, and they don't have to keep that on their processors, on their data centers in order to push it out. It's gone. And then they have room for something else. Not that eBay probably has virtually unlimited room, but the point is fast-moving things work well for everybody. And if you're selling things that move fast, eBay wants people to buy your things and knows that you're selling things that people want. And so that incentivizes them to raise your things in the algorithm so that things can go. It's a win-win, and it's kind of a snowball. The more you sell fast, then the more they give you exposure, and the more then your stuff sells faster and you get more exposure. And it's a gradual thing. You can't just show up on the scene and be selling everything all the time. You have to build slowly just because of the nature of the beast. eBay is a giant machine with lots of little bitty cogs. And so this little bitty movement does move the needle a little bit, but it takes a lot of little bitty moves to get the machine moving. PlayStation 3. I keep talking about my buddy gave me a bunch of games. PlayStation 3 with one controller. This is the PlayStation 3. This is a fine PlayStation 3. If you find one that has 4 slots, you can even see that this one, oh no, that's like a power light. But if it had 4 of these slots down here and this part was silver, and it's a little bit bigger machine, but a PlayStation 3 with those attributes is worth a fortune. This one sold for $110 plus shipping for the power cord, a aftermarket HDMI cable, 1 controller, and 6 games. So if you can pick up PlayStation 3s, people still want them. Everybody wants the PlayStation 5. I never really thought much of the PlayStation 3 because every one I ever used was broken, but Justin took good care of this, and so it works, and it sold really quick. Pokemon, I don't remember the name of the Pokemon. What's funny is I had in mind to ask my boys what this was, and Caleb came up and he said, "Dad, can we have that Kyogre?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he went and got it and brought me this thing. And while I'm inclined to let my boys have every Pokemon thing that I find, this sold for $15, and they would have taken it in their room, and I would have found it with the back broken off in 2 years when I vacuum under their bed because they don't ever clean under their bed. So, like, it's just a matter of they aren't going to be responsible with this. They're not going to enjoy it. They're just going to think it's neat for 5 minutes and then it's going to be gone. But the $15 that I make selling it quickly, because I haven't had it for very long, helps my store, helps buy food for them to eat. Listed on March 6th. This thing flipped quick, decent money. I bought it that grab bag box, like a fishing tackle box that had a bunch of weird toy parts in it. Listed it right away and it sold right away. And so I paid $2 for the whole box. I made my money the first time anything sold, which was Arnold Schwarzenegger heads off of action figures that didn't even have the bodies. But this sold for 15 bucks, so that's all profit. I told you raisins are starting to sell again. Like, they sold really hot when I was first starting in reselling in like 2010. And then I listed this on February 2nd, so it's like 6 weeks, and it sold for $17. I got it with the raisins that sold yesterday, and this one was part of that same box that I bought a flat. It might even have been this flat, like sitting on the auction table with this guy and the other raisins and some lips and 2 or 3 toy cars, and the whole lot went for $15 or something. So this guy sold for $17 free shipping and sold in 6 weeks. So I picked this up. I didn't even know what it was at the time. I thought it was like a Fitbit, but it's a Bond Touch. And what it is, it's basically you put it on your wrist and you touch it, and somebody who is wearing one that is paired to it, like it vibrates on their arm. It's basically to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. And I was like, so then my thought was, oh, that's some high school kids that are infatuated with each other, and that's creepy and dumb. But then I thought, what if you're like stationed abroad? And so it's hard to be in contact, but you just want to say, hey, I love you. That is kind of cool. And my wife and I did the long distance relationship. She lived in Carbondale, which is about 5 hours south of here, still in Illinois, but we're in like upper central Illinois, and that's like clear down to the very bottom tip, the very last thing in Illinois. So it was a 5-hour drive, and we could phone call and stuff, but something like this is neat if like contact is hard. I could see why this would be desirable. I listed it on March 17th. It sold on March 18th. And I paid $2.50 and it sold for $33. So if you find this kind of stuff, it will do well for you, and it's a quick flip. So a lot of these, I am really getting into the quick flip. Like, this is good money even if it took a year. $2.50 into $33. But I'm really starting to desire things that I know will flip super quick, because I think that's part of my reason that I'm getting a day where I have 34 items to ship, is because things sell. I often price things and find things that will sell super fast, and if they're not, if it's a lower sell-through rate, I adjust my price to be towards the bottom of the market or just below the market even, to try to make sure that my stuff is going to be the first one that sells, so that it doesn't sit forever. Thinking about sell-through rate, like let's say you search this thing and there's 100 listed right now, and then you go into solds and all of them are sold for 4 times what you're paying for it. So it's a good pickup. So if there's 5 solds, then, and there's 100 listed, 5 solds means that is, it's 5 solds in the last 90 days on your sold listing when you're using the app on your phone to look up comps. So 5 solds means that in the last 90 days, that sells on average at 1 every 10 days. So if you want to make a sale in the first 30 days, then you better be one of the bottom. I mean, there are things besides price that'll sell: condition, making a title that works, good pictures, but price sells cars, Mike Murphy. If you want yours to sell, be one of the first 3 to sell, so that in the first 30 days, then you need to price it so that it will sell as one of the first 2 or 3. And so thinking about 5 sold comps means that'll only sell every 10 days. Well, if there's 45 sold, that means it's selling every other day. And if there's 100 listed and 45 sold, that's 45%, but it's also somebody is buying that item every other day. Because, or on average, I mean, maybe 5 sold in one day and then they didn't sell for a week, but on average, 45 out of 90 days is one buyer selling every other day. So that is consistent enough to be able to believe that that's going to sell. Now, if there's 10,000 listed and 9,000 sold, that's probably fantastic too. If there's 100,000 listed and 9,000 sold, somebody's buying 9,000. Geez, that's 100 sell every day, but there's 100 times that many listed. So sell-through percentage matters on sell-through rate. It's an easy way to think about it. But also, like on the lower numbers, how many are selling a day and how many are listed? You can get a good idea of how to price an item so that it will sell fast. And like that James Taylor book, everybody was at $25 plus, but all the Terapeak solds were $9 or $10. So I came in at $9 plus shipping. But I could have said, well, mine would be the cheapest at 17, but there's no proof that anything sells at 17. So I'm trying to price the market and knowing what's available, what has sold, what has sold recently. There's a lot of factors, but sell-through rate, if you are buying inventory that's going to sit for a year, eBay doesn't have an incentive to push your store, all the items in your store, and raise the tide so that your ships all raise, unless you're selling things in a way to make them sell quick. I'm sure there are stores out there that would absolutely say that my theory is wrong because the way that they do it works. But those are probably very niche stores. And I'm a huge fan of Daily Refinement, Chris Lynn, the reseller podcast, Tech and Sports. But I think they make it too complicated. They really focus on, you need to know who's going to buy the item. You need to know your customers. You need to have a relationship with these customers and get repeat buyers. And I think that's important in a community. Like if you had a brick and mortar store, that is important. If you have your own website, that's probably important. But I don't think that you really have to focus on that on eBay, because eBay has 100 million buyers all over the world. And so the idea that I need to know that something about the person who's buying my item, other than to know like a gamer is going to buy this PlayStation 3 and they're going to want to have these games. I wouldn't, if I'm listing these games, I wouldn't list Madden in this lot. I wouldn't put I was going to say Mario and Zelda, but obviously not on a PS3. Those are Nintendo exclusive titles. But like, you wouldn't put a platformer kids game in with Killzone and stuff. So there is some semblance to which you have to understand your customer. But the idea, like, I heard Tech and Sports say the other day that he knows if he buys Tommy Bahama, that Bill, like a guy he knows, is who's going to buy that item. You get... That isn't eBay. eBay doesn't require that of you in order to be successful. Now he's making millions of dollars and has a handful of employees and is doing really, really well. So listen to him if you like, but he is only selling used men's shirts, and he's niched down to one thing. I can't support my family on finding used shirts, so I go into Goodwill and buy everything I think has a profit, because I really believe that, you know, sometimes the shirts are dry. Sometimes I find toys at a garage sale. Sometimes I find used electronics at Goodwill. Sometimes somebody gets a hold of me with used electronics. Sometimes somebody gets a hold of me with used clothes. And I can't afford to not take that money. I don't have the resources to source 40 items a day of exactly what I want to sell. I'm at the point doing it by myself where I have to take what comes to me. And if that's you, if that's what you're doing, then knowing the customer on the other end isn't as important as knowing the system and how the system works, and knowing that how to get eBay to sell your items for you. And they're eBay's customers. They're not my customers. I think that Daily Refinement guys think of customers that buy at their store as their customers. I don't think that way. I am selling to eBay's customers. So eBay goes and finds a guy who is looking for a PS2. I list a PS2 with a couple of games that make sense to go together. It's tested, it's pictured well, it's listed with good keywords and stuff, and I let eBay sell it. I don't, and I do the customer service. You got to answer questions. I'm rambling again. You got to answer the questions. I'll put up a text message that I sent my buddy the other day when he was asking me about slow sales. So eBay comes down to a handful of things, and it's sell-through rate. You have to be buying things that people want to buy quickly. You have to list. They want consistency. You really need to be listing every single day. My buddy had listed 25 items all at once and didn't see a bump. And I was like, you would have probably been better to list 5 items every day for 5 days. Even if you have the time right now to list all 25, schedule 5 out for each day, because that looks way more consistent for eBay, and you get a bump from when you're listing. Your whole store gets a bump. So listing every day, the same number thereabouts. I mean, if you list 12 one day and 18 the next day and 15, I think you're going to be just fine, as long as you have a reasonably consistent number of things you're listing. You have to do, somebody asked this question about promoted listing. I promote everything at 4%. I just believe that eBay has the promoted listings available and wants to make that extra money. And so it puts you in the game. You're buying a ticket to the game, because if you're not promoting, then eBay doesn't have incentive to push your stuff, because they're making more money on my stuff because I am promoting. And you're only paying promoted on things that are selling promoted, but they just changed the rules on that so that everything that you sell, if you promote anything, they make money on promoted. So it doesn't really affect me because I promote everything, but you're only paying promoted percentage on things that sell. And 4%, while it's not nothing, I mean, I sell $300 a day. 4% of $300 is $12. So to get those $300, if it costs me an extra 12, I'm okay with that. I think that's a totally reasonable. I mean, that's right. Yeah, the math is right. Yeah. So 1% is 1% of 300 is $3. 3 times 4 is $12. Yeah, $12. So in order to, like, let's say I only get a quarter of a bump. So like only 25% of my sales are extra because I'm promoting. Well, that's 25% of 300. That's hard math. It's like $75. So I $12 investment in promoted listing fees to make the $75 in sales. It's a no-brainer, essentially. You have to, Troy Mountain Men of Treasure says it best, it is eBay's sandbox. So you have to play with their toys and by their rules, or they can just kick you out of their sandbox. Or, like people talk about shadow ban. I don't believe it's a shadow ban, but I think that other people are also, you are not special. Your Heine is not any better than anybody else's Heine. Somebody else is selling what you're selling. And so if you're not promoting and they are, eBay has reason to sell theirs and not yours. And so they're not shadow banning you, but they're putting somebody else higher than you because it works better for them. And it doesn't matter to them if Susie Q makes money or if you make money. So you need to be the one that you want eBay to make money. Now, I'm not saying give away the farm, promote everything at 100% and it all sells, because that you have to make money. So there has to be a balance. And I did some work when when eBay first started doing promoted listings, where I promoted everything at 1%. And I waited a couple weeks to see, and I got a little boost. And 2%, and I got a little boost. And 3%, and I got a little more boost. And 4%, and I got a little more boost. And 5%, and that didn't seem as good. 6%, yeah. I'm diminishing the returns. And so I landed at 4%. Probably if you did an experiment similar to that, you would come up with a different result. But I feel like 4% is working because I'm getting a lot of sales, and I'm not giving away the farm. It's $12 on $300 worth of sales. I just got a text message from Goodwill. We need to get back to work. I got stuff to ship. All right, well, that's half of what the what solds were for the day, but it's 53 minutes worth of what solds. So let's go to Goodwill instead, because that's what I like to do when I get bored, and I'm sure you're bored listening to me yammer. Judah has track practice. Hey, please don't walk out there by yourself. All right, we are back at Goodwill. Yesterday, they told me that they thought a lot of the stuff would probably be coming out today from the weekend because they were short-staffed. So I made a point to try to come in here today. You just saw probably part of what solds, what I shipped this afternoon. And we're gonna see if we can find some more stuff to list. So we just ran into Mike here at the store, and nice to see you. Hopefully things are picking up for you. I'm going to show you guys what it is that we're picking up. Again, there wasn't much on the shelf when we walked in, but now there's a ton of stuff in my cart because they've been bringing out new merchandise, and we just attack those carts fast and get a bunch of good stuff. So then Levi picked these, and while I don't think they're like a runaway home run crazy hit, they are $1.49 and new with tag. So they're good inventory for sure. They're just College 47 brand beanies. So at $1.50 a piece, I think we're just going to grab them all. We found this Guitar Hero for the Wii. We found this Connect 4 for $2.50 and it's sealed. This is an Xbox Stratocaster. It's not one that comes apart, but I think for $2.50 it's probably still worth getting. This, again, not one that comes apart, wired Xbox, but at $3.79. Levi's excited about his find, $3.79. This Buffalo Nickel Eagle Head signed cane probably sold comps around $100. More bass strings in that guitar thing. Put those away. Asher found a little electric guitar that's $20 and he's going to buy that to learn to play. 50 cents a piece. Levi picked these up there. They are just 1, 2, and 3. I don't even comp these at 50 cents. There's no chance I'm not getting $5 out of them. Asher picked up Harry Potter's.
Harry Potter.
Okay.
For what? For Goodwill? For the normal prices at Goodwill? But at Walmart, this would be like $100.
It would come with that amp over there that's $25 and be $100 in the box, brand new. That's exactly what it would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this has Foxcroft and Oneida silverware in it, and it's $5. So, I mean, I'm less than 10 cents a piece into these. $6.04. I found this. I don't know if this is worth getting, but this, I have a suspicion that it is. So I still need to comp it.
Is that a radio?
Yes, it is. Magic books. I always pick up Magic books at 50 cents. I bet this is
like
$7 or $8.
Cards?
The same as the Magic the Gathering cards. Magic the Gathering, but this is a book based on that. Caleb picked up Lizzie McGuire books that I looked at yesterday and passed on, but I thought they were probably a good find. So if Caleb thinks they're a good find, we're going to get them. These are Hey Dudes, which is a really popular brand. They're men's size 9 and they're only $6. So I'm going to comp those. This I need to comp still. It's like a 100 disc thing that is $3.79. And then there's some practice pads, Remo, and sound percussion.
I want a punch of the tag.
And so those are probably going to be good. The Remo one for sure. The sound percussion is cheaper, and this one's heavier and the same price. So this one would cost a lot more to ship. So maybe we'll skip this one. So the CD organizer thing isn't in here anymore because it wasn't worth getting. This has about 100% sell-through rate, and some of them are sold at like 20 bucks, but most of them are sold at 40, and the lowest you can buy one is 40 plus shipping right now. And then these Hey Dudes have more than have almost a 200% sell-through rate at like 20 or 25 hours. I don't know what this is worth, and I think I forgot to show it to you. Junior, patent date 1920. I do know enough to know that underneath this price, it's going to tell me that it's pretty good. Wagner Ware Sydney O. Wagner Ware Sydney O. That's what you want to look for. So for $5, that's a really good find too. I don't know how much. I would suspect 50. That's my guess. How'd I do? 90 something on the whole cart. Goodwill sent me a $5 coupon, so I couldn't use my $10 coupon both at the same time. But this is a great haul for $100. That Sydney O, or that Wagner Ware, the guitars and the cane are all at least half my money back each, or all of my money back each. And then we got a bunch of other good stuff.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yay! Go buckle up.